weekly digital events. So Kylie, thank you so much for helping put this together. It's a lot more work than you would actually think, which is amazing. Just making sure we get the content, the dry runs, the lists together, the reminders, the creative for social media. So thank you, Kylie.
Yeah, of course. It's been a lot of fun. It's been an adventure changing roles and getting into these digital events. But I think we have some really exciting topics that we're going to be covering. And the whole series is just really exciting. And we've had such a good response to it, too. So that's, keeps us going for sure.
Yeah, we had 350 RSVPs today. So I know many people go back and listen to the recordings, but our main goal with these digital events is to give back to the industry and help you come up with business building projects while we're in this, very surreal time of isolation. And my heart, hurts for all the people that are in pain right now. And I'm also inspired by all of you to see how you're stepping up in your local communities, how catering companies are helping to serve healthcare workers, how so many people are helping with, sewing masks. I'm completely inspired by people rising to the occasion. So today, the topic is, how to organize and archive and manage your photo and video portfolio. And I know it sounds like a dry topic, but I promise it's going to be really fun. We're going to geek out together. And please know that this is such a positive ROI, return on investment project that you can do right now. I am very passionate about sharing how your photos and your videos can really build your brand. And I know we all love Instagram and we need to continue. Trust me, we're obsessed with Instagram too. But there's so many other ways you can use your photos, whether it's from proposals to responding to RFPs to your PartySlate profile, to not wherever you're sharing your photos. It's such an important. You need to have them organized on your own Dropbox. And I hear someone coming in. This is a live event, so hopefully a kid and a dog will not come in during this recording. But just to give you a little background, because we have a lot of new people on the call, I started PartySlate about 4 years ago. I was planning all these corporate events and galas and fundraisers, and was 20 years of digital agency experience. And I kept looking for a platform that could give me new ideas and inspiration. And I was frustrated with Pinterest dead ends. And then I used a website called Houzz, Houzz, for home design. I know many of you use that site. And I was really inspired by the really photo-rich nature of this platform. And from that day forward, really got inspired to start PartySlate. And so PartySlate is a place where you can come and get new ideas if you're planning a large-scale event, whether it's a gala, a mitzvah, a 40th birthday, or a wedding. And more importantly, get connected with the event professionals and venues that produce that event. And so we have close to 800,000 photos on the platform, and we're really excited that we've launched in 14, 15 cities, but we have content coming from all over the world. And that's what I'm really excited about, is getting more content to inspire people, especially in this time of need. And while doing so, building all of your brands and your portfolio. And so what I'm going to cover today, and Kylie, did I miss anything as far as
Yeah, no,
setup?
that was great, Julie. I think the only other thing is, please ask questions, please comment along the way. I'll be jumping in and asking questions as we go. So.
Okay, perfect. So don't hold back on your questions. So one, I'm going to talk about why it's important to get your photo act together very early on, starting PartySlate. I remember I was meeting with the Four Seasons in Chicago, and I asked them, how do you store your photos? And not to put them on the spot because they're amazing, but they're like, oh, our intern manages it. It's on the S drive, I think. And like, there was a lot of kind of, oh, we need to do a better job. And as I've met with many of you, again, photographers aside, so for the photographers on the call, thank God for you, how organized you guys are. But really, it's important that everyone in the industry has a system to archive and store your professional photos. So I'm going to talk about 3 simple ways to do that, how to save time publish those photos once you have them organized, and a very, very simple plan to get started on this. And we are also happy to help you. So The early obstacles I literally saw the second I started working on PartySlate, where I kept hearing things like this: I'm too busy to chase photographers. I'm going to organize my photos when I have downtime. And that downtime kind of never came because you guys are so busy. My new website's launching February. I'm going to organize them then. And then I always like to say, oh, February, what year? Because, I always hear this over and over. I also hear people saying, oh, I'm going to get an intern. I hear a lot of chaos. Again, there's probably 10 or 15%. You guys are amazing and you're already doing a great job. I still think you can pick up some tips today. But for the majority of the industry, it is very overwhelming to have links coming from photographers, having photos from all over the place, and coming up with a system to organize them that's very easy for you to find. So the reason I'm so passionate about it is the world of marketing is really becoming fully digital. Yes, there's a few magazines out there, but as you guys know, print is really struggling. And so with digital and the consumption of digital increasing astronomically, it is more important than ever that when those people Google you, your digital footprint is fully expressed and your best work is, whether it's on Instagram, PartySlate, or other blogs out there. So to get that content up there, you need an easy way to access those photos. And it's not enough to say, oh, they're on Flickr or they're on Facebook, because you need access to the high resolution photos and all of the content and credits linked back to your event. So if you have an archive of all these photos in an organized fashion that you can find like within a second, it's going to save you a lot of time. And what I have found is once you get your photo act together, you're more likely to publish more content because it's so much easier. So this is what I'm going to talk about today: the 3 ways you organize, manage, and archive your photos. And I'm going to give a demo. I'm going to really geek out and give a Dropbox demo. There's some new features in Dropbox that I'm really excited about. And then I'm going to actually walk through how to upload them to PartySlate and talk about how you can share them with publications, etc. The first step of the 3 steps is and I know there'll probably be some questions around this, you need to decide what cloud-based storage system you're going to use. And when I say cloud-based, I just mean that it's easy to share, it's not local to your hard drive. We use Dropbox just because I find that is to be the easiest way to share photos, and it's just kind of meant for that, for large-scale files, including videos. But many people use Google Drive. We use Google Drive for all of our document sharing, and I'm going to walk through how we use it. But Dropbox just seems to be the easiest. And I would love to know from the people on the call if there's other systems that you guys use. And again, I'm not counting the photographer-based platforms that you guys use to share with your clients, but that's specific to photographers. So again, you can get a free Dropbox or free Google Drive up to a certain point. The pricing to do kind of the professional versions, I believe, are worth it and are pretty low cost. So if you already have this, great. If you don't, I do think investing in a low package of the professional Dropbox or professional Google Drive will actually end up saving you a lot of time and headaches. So once you've decided you have your cloud-based system, this is a step that many people skip. And I'm going to tell you, it's very important to think through how you're going to organize. Let's say you do 50 events a year. You've been doing this for 10 years. You could have 500 folders, and you can't just throw the folders into one big drive. So you need to think about, are you going to separate your folders by type of event, by year? If you're a destination planner, is it going to be by country, by location? If you do a lot of work at the same venues, do you want to sort it or store it by venue? You need to think through what is right for your business and how are you going to be able to easily find the content when you go to search for it. So really important to think through your taxonomy, again, to a business term of how you're going to organize your photos. At PartySlate, we have decided...
Really quickly, I just wanted to jump in. We have a couple questions about people that
Sure.
might be unable to hear, or they might have trouble asking questions via chat. So if you are having that issue, please just exit and you can come back in, and hopefully that'll fix it.
Okay. Cool. Should I wait a minute or keep going?
I think we only had a couple people that had issues, so
Okay.
it looks like people are coming back in. So
okay, great. Well, I'll wait a couple seconds. So just as we are waiting for people to come back in, I'll just say, when you think about organizing your photos, think about, for example, if you want to do it by event type, by location, or by year. And so you can see a little screenshot of our Dropbox for PartySlate events. We have decided to separate our events by year. So we started it in 2016, our first big launch party in Chicago, and then our last party was in New Orleans in 2020. And I'm going to actually give you a demo of how I use Dropbox and how our team organizes everything in Dropbox. So
Yeah,
hopefully,
for us, it's really just about being consistent too. I know that's when we organize a Dropbox on our end, it's just whatever we choose, just trying to be consistent as much as we can.
Exactly. And, Kylie joined our team. How long have you been here, Kylie?
6 months now. So,
well, 6 months. So when Kylie started, it was really important to ramp her up to our process of how we store our photos. And so when a new person starts, you just want to document, this is how we organize our photos. This is our system. And another thing that's really important is coming up with a naming convention. And so, for example, our event names, again, for archiving our photos, we use kind of the name of the city, the year, and the venue. So for example, PartySlate New Orleans launch 2020 at the Southern Hotel. And so that will also help you as you're archiving a lot of your information so that you have a good system to use. The third thing that is really important to do is to create an index to track all your event data. And so we do use Google Sheets. You can use Excel, whatever you need to use to literally track every single piece of information about that event. And it serves as almost like a homepage for your event that you can link out to gather, all the credits, where the photos are, the link to the Dropbox, etc. And so what I'm going to do actually is jump right into our event index to show you what it looks like. Typically, I would say include the event name, the location, the type of event, the photographer name. It's always good to have the name of the photographer so you can easily follow up if you need something, the date of the event. And then, again, this is a step that many people don't do, a link to the Dropbox or the Google Drive where those photos actually live, and then a link to the actual sheet or whatever, Google Doc, whatever it is that shows all the credits tied back to that event. And so I hope you guys aren't getting too overwhelmed, because when I give you a demo, it's actually simpler than you think. So what I'm going to do right now is actually share my screen and walk through how you can create an index for your events, how you can organize Dropbox, and also take advantage of some of the new features that Dropbox has that we're really geeking out about. And then I'm going to actually give you a demo of how to upload directly from Dropbox into a PartySlate new event album. So I'm going to share my screen. I want to make sure, Kylie, that you can see my screen now. Can you see it?
Yep, I can see the index.
Okay, great. So this is the event tracking index for PartySlate. Our first event, I get sentimental thinking about our first amazing event we had here in Chicago to launch to the industry. You can see what I include is the name of the photographer, the city, the type of event. So whether it's a press event, an educational event, a conference, an anniversary party, the date, and then the date, we have the date posted to PartySlate and who posted that. And then we have a link to the photos and the videos, and then a link to where it is on PartySlate. Again, I'm not saying I'm happy to actually share this template with you. So again, email me at julie@partyslate.com. I will send you this template. But it's really great that when, for example, you see here, this is our last party we had in New Orleans, which was amazing. You can link to that Dropbox, and it will show you everything in that Dropbox, including the photos, the video, and the highlights. And then also we can go right to PartySlate URL. So I'm going to jump now, unless there's any questions, Kylie, about the index, I'm going to jump to Dropbox.
Yeah, no, I think we're good for now on that.
Okay, so can you still see my screen?
Yeah, I can see.
Okay, great. So here is a visual of the Dropbox PartySlate events folder. And what is new and exciting to help you stay organized is now you can add a little note here. So you can see, you can add videos, whatever you want to add here to describe. Let's say you have a new intern starting, you can describe what are in each folder. And I also put a link to our event index here and for, again, in our situation, where it was published on PartySlate. So if I click here, so again, I said our taxonomy, we have sorted by year. That's just what works best for us. But again, you have to decide, is it by type of event? Is it by location? What works best for you? And so you see we had our employee holiday party photos, and then we had a New Orleans launch party. And once I click into our New Orleans launch party, I have a brief overview of that event, a link to the credits for that event, and that's like everyone who participated. And then I also, just for the team, linked to the article about that event if we ever need past reference to that. So you'll notice that I have the New Orleans video here. Here's 2 videos that we created with our videographer partner for New Orleans. And then here is a link to the photos. I found it easy to have the all photos in one folder and then highlight photos. And oftentimes your photographer will do this for you, but you, if you're a caterer versus a band, you might want to feature different photos as you upload them to social media or upload them to your profile page. And so I'm going to click into the New Orleans highlight photos, and you're going to see that I have just a link to some of the highlight photos for PartySlate that we've put into a folder. And so,
yeah. Julie, we just have a question that pertains to that. Whether you list it per photo, you might have, 3 photographers at the event, which might seem like a lot of work, Michelle, great point, but just how you would handle that.
So it's complicated when you have more than one photographer from a crediting perspective. So if there is a second shooter or you have a team, I think it's very difficult to put individual photographer names. So we always say it should be the lead photographer. So in this case, Paul in Maryland, and if he had other people on his team, it would still be under his brand. For events like Engage, where you have multiple photographers, I think the best thing to do is to create different folders of the individual photographers' images and post them separately to make sure those photographers get their credits. I think it's a very unusual situation where you'd have like multiple companies leading. Typically what we see is one leading photographer with second shooters, and the lead photographer company is the one that's credited on things like PartySlate. So I know there's always exceptions to that, but I think it's very complicated to tag, like let's say of these 9 photos, if there's 3 separate photographers, to tag that separately. So if it's a larger event where you have multiple companies, my suggestion is just to create different folders for each photographer. Hopefully that answered your questions. So, okay, so this is, again, the PartySlate New Orleans photos. I just put a little link up here of what's in the folder. Again, this little description section is a new Dropbox feature. I don't know exactly when this came out, but I think it's kind of nice for, like, let's say, again, a new person starts to have a description of what's in each folder. Okay, so now I'm going to jump, Kylie, to how you upload to PartySlate. Did I miss anything on the demo that I should talk about?
No, I think that was great.
Yep. Okay, so now many of you have asked, how do you upload these in an easy way to PartySlate or to any other platform where you're sharing your photos? First, once you have a Dropbox folder, it is very easy to share, large-scale files, large-scale videos. That's really the purpose of Dropbox, is not only to help you archive, but to help you in more easy way share large file sizes. So I'm just going to show you, we're on the PartySlate profile. Like, let's pretend we're a venue page, and we want to upload a new event. All you have to do now that you have your Dropbox organized is you click on add a real event, and then you're going to see, hopefully, Kylie, you can still see, there's a button, add for my Dropbox. You can always upload photos from your hard drive or anywhere else you have your photos. But once you have them organized in Dropbox, and you guys can't see this, but I'm just picking those 9 photos that I had shown before. And once I click on those 9 photos in that Dropbox folder, this is our New Orleans event, I can just add the title here, and we'll always encourage you to think about SEO-friendly words that you want people to find you, help you find, description. So I'm just doing a shortcut here, but you can always say what type of event it is. So you can just say this was a corporate event. You can go through the city, the state, the theme, the setting. So let's just say it's white, black, and gold. modern. Again, I don't know. You, Kylie, know it better than me, but I'm bad at describing these. And then you can put your event description here. Again, it's really important for SEO. And then you can easily add your credits. So in this case, I'm going to put an event planner, and hopefully I'll spell this right. Sapphire. Did I spell it wrong? Sapphire. Okay, I knew that. I knew that. Sapphire Events. You click here and you'll see that, and then we'll put venue. And I'm not going to add all of them. We probably had, how many partners did we have?
I think we had like 15 or something. Amazing.
Amazing. So. Event partners and photographer. Oh my God.
And Julie, we also got a question really quickly of, is there an ideal number of photos to post?
Yeah, so I suggest posting between 20 and 40 photos to an event collection. As some people want to do more, but I think enough photos to give people a feel from the beginning of the night to the end of all the elements. And again, people like to look at people photos in addition to decor and details photos. So I think that it really depends on what you feel is a curated view. You can go through and add descriptions of each of the photos. I think that's extra credit, and that will, of course, help you, again, with SEO. But what we really encourage you to do is just make sure you have the credits, the event description here, and then you can publish this event. And so, oh, see, I knew this was.
And we also had another question on that as well. Do you first sort the photos by category, like room shots, details, food and beverage, before you upload to PartySlate, or can you change that?
You actually don't need to sort in advance. And so I would just say, just upload them, and then you can rearrange the photos. So for example, you always want to have a visually kind of arresting photo as your cover. So you can just drag them here, and you can sort this way. And then you can just save it. So I think it's easier to actually just sort once you get in there. And I have found, and again, I know Nicole, who leads our pro acquisition team that actually helps build all of these. I think it's kind of nice to like rotate between people and decor photos. If you have people photos, if you don't have people photos and it's just decor, then you don't want to have photos that look exactly the same next to each other. So you really want kind of a curated view of your photos. I think that's much better for the user experience. And so again, here is our updated event. Oh, that's me dancing there. And so this is just, again, an easy way to do this. So for our real New Orleans post that is better than this one, I believe we selected about 30 events. I'll go look. That's the draft. Okay, 53. So we have 53 events. And for our sake, we want to make sure all our event sponsors are featured, from our alcohol partners to our decor companies to the people that did the candles. So we did put more photos than normally you need to, like the little selfies. But I think it's your judgment call. I don't think more than 50 photos make sense for an event. But if you want to share more, that's really up to you on how you tell the story of your event. And you can see all the credits over here of all our amazing partners. So, PartySlate events have been a really huge part of our growth. And we so appreciate many people on the call today that have partnered with us with our city launches. And we can't wait to get back to having these amazing events. But in the meantime, we're excited to host these weekly digital events. I think next week we're doing one on Instagram and best practices with Instagram. We just passed 100,000 followers. I know many of you on the call are highly engaged, and we feature your work on our Instagram. So I'm really, really excited about that one. So I'm back in the presentation. Are there before I jump to the next section, are there any questions related to Dropbox organization, creating an index for your events, or again, uploading to PartySlate or uploading anywhere else you need to get your brand out there?
Yeah, so we have a couple great questions. One question would be, do you have any tips with working and getting photos back from a photographer? we know that.
Absolutely. So I feel for our photographer community because we love those photos so much. And the second the party's over at like 1 a.m, like, when can we get the photos? We get really excited. So I think the key thing for getting photos is, number one, I know many of you have great relationships with your photographer partners, but just set expectations with each other on when you're going to get the photos and what you need. And I really know the great photographers out there are so amazing at following up, but they also have their pipeline of work they need to do. So this is not their only client. And so I think just making sure you have that understanding of how to get, when you're going to get it, in what format, and all that. So what I would say is, when the photographer sends you the link, yes, you're really excited to look through, and that's amazing, but also don't forget to save the photos to your Dropbox, and make sure you have that understanding of, how you're going to do that, when you're going to do that, what you need from your photographer. And I really appreciate a lot of the photographers who create, oh, I know the caterer is going to want this, and I know the band is going to want this, and that's amazing. But if the photographer doesn't have time for that, even just providing the top 100 photos or the top 150, and then letting your partners select the photos that they need to use, just like I did for my New Orleans highlight reel that I created, or highlight photos from the overall event. At a minimum, just sending those highlights are great. So I, again, feel for these photographers. I've talked to many of you that feel inundated on, like, you need it like in an hour, and that's just not practical. So I would just say, make sure you're working closely with your photographer on what photos you need, what timeline is realistic, and then also make sure you don't jump the gun to start sharing those photos until the client has them, until you have an agreement on what are these sneak peek photos you can share versus, putting out 100 photos on PartySlate. So as much as we'd love to get them, I've seen people pull back where they jumped the gun a little bit before they had the timing with the event planner or whoever was leading up the event. So my advice to you is, number one, appreciate all these amazing photographers that are getting things to you quickly, more quickly than they're ever used to before this day of Instagram and PartySlate, et cetera. And number two, save those photos. So many of you that take us up on our white glove service, our premium members, just forward the email link to us, and that's great. You can continue doing that. We do have, we will get the photos for you, but don't forget to build your asset, which is saving those photos to your Dropbox or your Google Drive so that you have them anytime you need them. You might have a proposal that's coming up that you need photos for. You might have Vogue calls you and, hey, what about that Nantucket wedding? You need to have the photos, the high resolution photos, in your cloud-based archive, whether it's Dropbox, Google Drive, or any other platform that you use. And again, photographers have their own system and own specific platforms for doing this, which is great. But for everyone else, you guys need a system that just makes your life a lot easier. So I really think the people that are following this advice are really saving some time. So I walked through, how once you have your photos in this cloud-based system and organized, and you have your index, it should be very easy for you to find your photos, to have access to them. A new person on your team starts and you want to show them your photos. Again, it's great to have most of them on PartySlate, but you also need those raw files of those high resolution photos accessible to you. So I showed how to upload from Dropbox. I kind of jumped ahead here already. So I'm going to keep going how to get started, and then I'm going to take some questions from everyone. So getting started, I hope this wasn't overwhelming, but I'm going to create 3 simple steps for each of these, and we are more than happy to help you with this and send out templates, etc. Number 1 is creating an index, and that follows the taxonomy that you've set up on a place where all of your events are listed. So we use Google Sheets, and it's just easy. We have our naming conventions for how we name each event. And that doesn't necessarily mean that's not how we're going to name it on PartySlate or name it when we publish on social media, but it's a name internally that we know after doing 40 events what each event is. The second thing is deciding how your folders are going to be structured. I don't think it's great to have every event have its own folder without any sort of subfolder creation. So we do it by year. You may want to do it by location. You may want to do it by type of event. You have to decide what's best for you. The second thing is a really important step, and I think during this time of isolation and this time of working on projects, I know many of you are very busy rescheduling your events, but others have some found time because your actual events aren't happening. So make an analysis, maybe even in your index, on what photos do you have and what photos you are missing. And then importantly, I always say if it's not written down, it doesn't happen. Write down a timeline for getting those photos. And again, you're not going to want to inundate every photographer like, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that, but kind of create maybe a 2-month plan for every week, maybe getting 1 or 2 more events that you don't yet have those photos for. And then you kind of narrow the gap. And I know this feels very overwhelming, but you may have an amazing event that happened 5 years ago that still is very relevant and could help you build your brand, but you just don't have those photos. Going back and getting those photos is a very high value activity, and create a plan for yourself to do that. And then the third thing is, this isn't about just getting your photos. This is about unleashing the power of your photos to build your brand. You guys are already doing a great job on Instagram, some more than others. Again, I know that in itself is overwhelming, but think through a content distribution plan, whether it's your own website, social media, digital platforms like PartySlate that have kind of high SEO authority. And of course, again, really thinking through a timeline to getting that to your website. So think of all the ways, your own blog, your newsletter, that you can use this content. And I know top of mind are your last 6 months of events, but don't forget those amazingly creative, fabulous events you've done in the last 5 years or longer that you can, I don't want to say recycle, but resurface as a great brand building initiative. And for anyone who attended my LinkedIn, Building Your Network from Home LinkedIn presentation last week, don't forget to share on LinkedIn. You can have the right messaging. It doesn't have to be all business. People are looking to be inspired. LinkedIn is not this, we're robots on LinkedIn. People like you and me are using LinkedIn not just for job search, but for getting news and getting updates and getting business information. So don't forget, yes, Instagram, but also LinkedIn, Facebook, and platforms like PartySlate to get your work out there. The more link backs you have, the more credits you're crediting people, the more you're going to expand your own digital footprint and help build your brand. So if you can do these 3 things, I believe strongly that you will save a lot of time and have some found brand building from sharing all this information. And I think what we're doing is trying to balance kind of a nod to, this is an incredibly difficult time, but it's also a time that people want to get inspired, and even changing copy to, I can't wait till we can celebrate this again, or dreaming about the Santorini wedding I did, whatever it is. I would not hold back, and I would not underestimate that our traffic is holding strong. People are on PartySlate planning events. People are having some found time, and those events are still going to happen. The majority, it's just going to be delayed. And so now is the time to build those relationships and build your brand. The last thing I'll say is, during this time of uncertainty, we want to help you. I know many of the premium members that we work with have a white glove service. Let us, if you don't have a profile page yet, I have Nicole kind of standing by. We can help you kind of jumpstart your free profile. You just go to the For Pros tab on PartySlate. If there's additional events you'd like us to feature for you, please just ask us. We want to help you build your brand during this really tough time. And the good news is I feel like it's kind of a 50-50 split of, yes, it's painful for many, but their events are being pushed off. So now they're crazy rescheduling and trying to put this big puzzle together. And then there's, a lot of people with corporate, some of those events are not being rescheduled, and that's incredibly painful. So the good news is people are planning events across the board on PartySlate. They are looking for help. So get your content out there and use this time to do business building, brand building initiatives. while you can and while you have the time. So for all of you out there that say, oh, I'm going to do this in February next year, or I'm going to do this when I have downtime, now you don't have an excuse. You have some found time. I think this is one of the most high value activities you can do. So at that, Kylie, I know we have another great digital event coming up, and then also I'd love to take more questions.
Yeah, so I can jump into a few of these questions here. First of all, just want to say Phil in New York got his first wedding inquiry from PartySlate yesterday, which is
Hey,
awesome. So
hi
these are
Phil.
still coming through. It's awesome.
Right.
So question about video clips. Do you have any tips for keeping track of your videos or uploading those?
So that's a very good question. So we do have our professional videos all stored in our Dropbox and of course posted in the video gallery section. I'll just go show you what that looks like. And Kylie, you can tell me can you see my screen?
Yep, I can see PartySlate. Yep.
Okay. So you can see here, we have 21 videos in our video gallery. So we have all of our videos from our events here. But I would also say, in addition to doing that, drop them or archive them in your Dropbox. And then I'd also say, experiment with direct uploads. After you have the link here, direct uploads to YouTube, to LinkedIn, direct uploads to Facebook. I know it's easy to link out on Facebook, but your views on your videos will be, 10x higher if you actually natively upload those videos. And so to upload those videos, you have to know where those videos live. And so that's another reason why it's important to have your videos stored in your archive.
Great. And I think
Okay,
another
I'm
question
back.
off of and I think another question off of that is related to PartySlate. Can PartySlate upload photos or real events to my profile for me? Can you add those credits? And then another great question is regarding photo sizing for your cover photo. Is landscape the best? Anything you can
Yes.
tell us about?
Absolutely. So the two questions, one, can we upload for you? So we do have a premium membership program where we can, provide ongoing white glove service, and many of you on the call take us up on that. But for the new people or someone that just needs like that extra boost, we have a team standing by that will help you, again, 3 or 4 events upload on your behalf. We want to help you get started. What I've found is if you get a jump start on it and then you see, oh, this isn't that difficult to do. I gave you a demo. It's very easy. We have found that helps get people going. So absolutely email me. I will kind of forward you to the right people on our team so I don't drop the ball, which sometimes I do, and we'll get that going for you. So again, it's right on the screen, julie@partyslate.com. We would like to help you. And you guys know everyone's struggling right now. We want to help you build your brand, and we have people standing by ready to help you. What was the second part of the question? I forgot.
The sizing of photos for cover photo.
Oh yeah, so the landscape photo works best for a cover photo. One day on our roadmap, like many other platforms like Facebook and others, you'll be able to kind of adjust and shift those photos. But right now, the easiest thing is just to use a landscape photo. And I always say, try a couple different photos and see what looks best for your brand. We're excited that we're going to be adding more features. I get in trouble from our tech team when I commit to what we're building, but we're going to be building more features on the PartySlate profile page to allow you to show your work in new ways. And so as these come out, we're going to give you guys a heads up on those new features that are coming. So our product team is full speed ahead. We're great at working remotely. We're a digital company. We're on Zoom every day. And so we are not slowing down.
No, love that. Another great question about the importance of getting and reusing old photos. How
Yes.
can we best track these photos from past events if we don't already have
So
them?
Yeah, if you don't have them already, this is where, photographers, they just love it when you get, an event planner that comes like from 5 years ago. Oh, I need these photos. Photographers are really organized and they have these photos. If you asked for an event maybe 15 years ago, I think that's a different story. But from 5 years ago, they should have it. I just think give a reasonable time that maybe they have to do a little digging to find those. And send them over. But I think the best photographers are the ones we've worked with. They know that this is relationship building. And so if an event planner reaches out to you and maybe you haven't worked with that event planner for a while and you're asking for photos, take it as an opportunity to, check in and see how they're doing during this crazy time. And again, I don't even need to tell this group because you guys are so good at networking and relationship building that when someone asks for something and you're helping them, it is a moment of relationship building. And remember, on PartySlate, if they credit you, that photographer, that is another connection that you're going to have in your digital network. And I know I talked about that last week in our webinar, but creating those relationships you have offline and extending them online is a great way to continue to build those relationships.
Yeah, thank you. And I think another great question. I mean, we know that we have so many photos on our phones and we don't really know what to do with those. So someone asked, how do we tackle those 47,000 photos on our phone?
Oh gosh. Yeah. So that is a really good question, a tricky question, because, from our point of view, we're one of the only industries, I think we are the only industry that has a built-in professional content machine. And what I mean is we have a professional photographer and a professional videographer at all of our events versus the housing, industry, on House, all of those homes need to be shot and a scheduled, a photo shoot, et cetera. So we really encourage you to focus on your professional photos. But I will say that, the quality of these iPhone photos and some of the people shots you have, I don't have a great answer for you, except for, if you're using iPhotos or whatever's linked to your Apple, to your iPhone or whatever system you're using, there are many folder systems tied to those platforms. And maybe a good start, and maybe someone on the digital event has a better idea, I would maybe start with organizing in folders through that platform versus I don't know if it's worth exporting those photos to all your Dropboxes. So that's just my perspective. I don't know if anyone else has a viewpoint on it because I have the same thing. I don't know what to do with all my iPhone photos.
Yeah, I know that's a tricky one for sure. So I think another question that we have is, should we wait until PartySlate sends notifications to us asking for specific event photos, or should I contact your team with something that I think might be a great fit for, the audience to see?
So we have, for anything that you are interested in submitting to our editor, the first thing to do is publish it on your profile page and then send a link to that event. It helps us if you have an event description in there so we know a little bit more about it. And then you can submit it to editorial@partyslate.com. And that goes directly to our editor. We are going to create kind of a form to submit events. But also, please know that our editorial team every single day is scanning the new events that come in from all over the world, mainly the US, but we get amazing events from London, we had some great events coming in from Australia last week. So there's amazing events that we're looking at every day. But the best way, if you have something unique, special, memorable that you want to submit, please send it to editorial@partyslate.com. But the easiest way to get us those photos is actually having the link to your PartySlate profile, the event there.
Yeah, thank you. And I think just a note on that, it's actually editor@partyslate.com. So we'll have Lauren or Nicole post that in the chat, but just to make sure it goes to the right place.
Did I say editorial? Oops. Yeah, editor@PartySlate. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, another question we have is, do you need to get consent from event guests or event clients to post photos with those people in them?
So what we say is if it's a private event where the client is very sensitive to it, even if you have the marketing rights, you may want to focus just on the event decor and details. We are the only platform, we still celebrate these events that don't have people shots in it. So I know to get published in many of the magazines, you've got to have the bride and the groom, etc. We're all about being the Vogue for event design. So we celebrate the event design as much as the people photos. Of course, we want both. We think that makes it richer. So number one is if it is a very private event, we recommend kind of getting permission just to do the decor and details. If they say no, you would be very surprised if you go back a year later after some time has passed to ask for those permission. They many times will give it. So I think that's number one. You in your contracts need to make sure you have the rights to use these photos for marketing purposes. And if you don't have the rights, that's, you need to work, and then my son's in the background, you need to work with your event planner or whatever to make sure that you have the ability to actually use those for marketing purposes. I'd say 99% do, but there's going to be that 1% where you don't want to risk it in a client relationship, and you should probably just not share those photos. I think that's the question that was being asked.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. And what about older events, Julie? So, I mean, should we be deleting our older events, or are those still relevant?
So I think the more content, the better. From an SEO perspective, the more content you have in your profile page, the more Google will recognize this as a valuable page with real links and real content. If you have a wedding from the 80s that have chair covers, I know some of you guys are too young on this call to know that, and it looks dated, definitely take it down. But think of how many events over the last 10 years you've done that are still as relevant as ever. Unless they look dated and the quality of the photos are not good, I would not take down those photos, because Google is really, really boosting pages that have lots of content. It used to be 200 to 300 words and some photos. They're looking for real pages versus fake pages that are used for SEO purposes. So the more content you have, the more likely that page is going to be recognized and found in Google. And then from our algorithm on PartySlate, we also look at how active, how much new content is on the page. So we have our own algorithm and how we elevate content on our own platform. So I would say the more often you post, and I'm not saying every day, maybe it's once a month, once a quarter, you're putting 5 or 10 events up, that would be incredible. And that will help you with search results. It will also help you with your ranking on PartySlate.
Perfect. And I think our last question that we can answer, can you remind us how to request a tag on PartySlate for your photo if you were not originally tagged in it?
Absolutely. So the question is really related to if you were not credited in the event originally and you want to add a credit, how do you get that done? Again, we would like to add a feature onto the site that makes it easy for you to request a credit. But the best thing to do and the fastest thing to do is to email the person that posted the event and ask to be added as a credit. So for example, if Sapphire Events posted our New Orleans party and they forgot to tag the videographer can send a simple email to their contact at Sapphire Events and say, can you add us as a credit? If you cannot get through to anyone, you can also just email us directly. So I'm not sure, Kylie, what the best email address is, but we'll add that in our follow-up email. But you can just email us and we will make sure to reach out to that event professional and ask for the credit.
Yeah, so that'll be Nicole@partyslate.com is the best resource for that. So we can put that in the little chat below as well. So yeah, I think at this point we are about out of time. So we can let you know about our event next week, which we're really excited about. The next topic, like Julie said, is around Instagram. So 5 easy steps to optimize your Instagram and build your brand. Julie will be leading with our senior marketing director, Lauren. Instagram, is very popular. So we think this is going to be a hot topic and you guys should definitely make it.
Great. Well, I just want to thank everyone. I see a lot of friends here on the webinar, and I appreciate you guys. So many of you have reached out to me knowing that we're all kind of struggling on how we can work together and really get your content out there during this time of isolation, this uncertain time. So I am praying that we move through this quickly. I know some cities are feeling it more than others, and I really want everyone to stay safe and continue to work. In addition to Netflix, Tiger King, anyone watching that? In addition to Netflix, work on these business building projects that you'll be so happy you have when we're back in the swing of things. So I love this industry. I love that everyone is making time to attend these, and please let us know how we can help. Again, Julie at PartySlate.com. I can get you to the right people. Hopefully I won't drop the ball and follow up. And then I just want to thank my team again. The events and marketing team has been so amazing, sharing great stories, switching from physical events to digital events within a matter of days. And we just appreciate all your support, and let us know what else we can do to help you in the coming weeks.
Yeah, thank you, Julie. And I think just another note that we will be emailing the invitation out for next week's event tomorrow. And then, we'll be covering that on social media. So just look out on our Instagram. You can swipe up to register for the events. And yeah, thank you guys for joining us. We really appreciate it.
If you have any topics, please let us know what topics you want us to cover. I see a big hello to Pauline Perry who joined. I see Tracy Domino. I love all you guys and appreciate all these shout outs. So really important for us to continue to help you guys. And I know some of these topics are kind of geeky and you're like, oh, this is going to be such a dry topic. But I mean, there's nothing more exciting than your amazing events and the photos and videos that have captured your amazing events. So just take a little extra time to get organized, and then let us know how we can help you publish those amazing photos on PartySlate and keep your work out there while people are rescheduling. And trust me, they are planning for second half of the year. They are planning those events. So thank you again, and we will talk soon.